it's so good to be here today. My name is Leanne Peters. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube, and I'm here to pull some cards and share some guidance for this week ahead. That's this week starting Wednesday the 17th of May through till Tuesday the 23rd of May 2023. So welcome to you. I'm coming to you live from Tasmania, Australia, where it is Wednesday the 17th of May here today, now, and it's exactly 10:01 a.m. So while you're coming over, I want to send out an extra special big welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light members, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. So what I'll be doing today, cards that I created. I've got a combined deck here of the Animal Kingdom Oracle cards and the Speed of Light Oracle cards, and this makes a 110 card deck, and I'll be using this deck to find the best cards for this week ahead, based on the energy that the majority. Okay, looks like we've got an interesting connection here. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. Please let me know. So I don't know, I just cut off, so I don't know when that froze or whatever, but I'm using my Oracle cards today to find the best cards for this week ahead. I'm not pulling cards for individuals. This is general guidance for everyone. So I trust you've been led here for a reason, and I trust that something shared supports you at this time and during the week ahead. And just take on board what feels right, what resonates, what fits into your life easily at this time, and let the rest go. So welcome. Hi, Joe. And Andrea, welcome, and the other few of you watching. Hopefully some of you get notified soon. Hi, Kate from Alaska. Excellent. Okay, so our theme last week was harmony. Harmony is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, excellent. So harmony was our theme, so balance, finding harmony, and also an emphasis around song or music or sound of some sort. So I remember talking last week about that some of us might find quite comfort from music and surrounding ourselves with different types of music depending on what we felt like or what we felt at the time, and what we needed. So I don't know if you immersed yourself in music a little bit more than normal last week, or how successful you were in finding your harmony, your balance. And this is something that seems super important right now, is finding balance. And there seems to be just this general sense through emails and messages and comments that I'm seeing in these last few days, is that there seems to be quite an imbalance with people in general right now. So hopefully you're feeling quite balanced. If you're not, or what can you do to find it? I mean, that's quite priority, really, depending on what else you've got going on in your life. But I know for me, if I'm out of balance, it's quite top priority for me to find it again. And I need to make the time to do that because, you know, I don't want to be in a state of imbalance for too long. And when I say too long, I mean longer than 3 days. So it's quite important at the moment that we look at making sure that we're in balance, and if we're not, then make some adjustments or take some time to find it, and also take some time to nurture and maintain the balance that we may be feeling. Might be important too. Hello, Melina, lovely to see you. Okay, let's get started. I'm asking the cards now to show us, the majority of us, those listening live and later to the recording, what the majority of us need. So I'm looking for the best cards for the majority of us for this week, starting Wednesday the 17th of May through to Tuesday the 23rd of May 2023. So the best cards are these, and I'm going to place them face down here in 2 rows of 3. And then 1 to the side at the bottom. So we've got 3 Speed of Light, 4 Animal Kingdom, and let's turn them over now. Okay. Good. All right, we've got no featured cards or anything, no dragons. We have got some pretty good cards here. So starting the week, Wednesday the 17th of May. Hi, Bobby. We have the Elementals card, card 30. It says blessings, abundance, prayers, and opening. I'm going to sneeze, I think. Okay, so this is the abundance cards. This brings a lot of abundance, good flow happening on Wednesday. Things moving in a way that's, when we're in good flow, there's an efficiency to the movement of our life, and we're aligned with that movement of our life and that rhythm as well. And something I have noticed in these last few days with interactions that I've had and observed with others is this sense of not being in the flow. So sometimes our life is, well, it goes a certain speed in a certain way, in a certain direction. Sometimes it moves fast, sometimes it moves slow, sometimes it juts and moves, and sometimes it's straight path. And sometimes we have to, if we're conscious and aware of our state of balance, part of that balance is moving with this rhythm and this movement that our life is going. Sometimes it moves on its own, and sometimes we're directing it. Sometimes it's influenced by others. Sometimes life does this and throws a spanner in the works, and then we have a corner that we've got to navigate through. So a big part of the balance at the moment that I'm noticing is this lack of alignment with the movement and the rhythm and the flow that our life's path is taking us. So if we're wanting our life to go over here, but our life is actually going this way, then we're going to be moving at odds with our path and moving in some ways a different direction to where our life's wanting us to go. And this creates an imbalance straight away. And so then we become stuck because we're going this way, our path is going that way, and then this path that we want to take starts sort of disappearing, if you like, and then suddenly we're in the middle of nowhere and we're stuck and we're stagnant and we don't know what's happened, and life seems to be going too fast in this other direction and we're not up to speed or on that track of where our life's going. So there's a lot of this around, and I just feel that this is the flow that this abundance card is talking about for Wednesday. And we have an opportunity, if we have time to, and we only need a few minutes really, to make time to take stock or reconnect with ourselves and make sure that we are in the flow and the movement that our life is going right now, that we're swimming with that stream. If our life and the flow of our life was a river, that we're moving in that river, and that we haven't left the river and we're trying to create another river, or we're trying to swim upstream from the river, or we're trying to reject the river that we're in or the course that we're taking. We don't want to be going down this road, so we're trying to swim against the stream. We're trying to scramble up the side of the riverbank, and we're trying to go over to another river that's not, well, it's not going to really amount to much because our life is going this other direction. So if we can take stock today and on Wednesday and make time, even a few minutes, it doesn't have to be a long time. But if we need a long time, maybe we can take a little bit of time to stop and reconnect, take some deep breaths and tune back into our body. Our body might be feeling torn because a part of us wants to be over here, but a part of us is going this way. So, but our body will be key to help us anchor into that current stream and that current flow that our life is taking us. So if we can take some time to breathe, get out of our head and down into our body, that will be probably a really important step to take to get us back into alignment with our path and back into alignment with ourselves. So breathing, or the time, breathing, body, and then feeling our feet in our life right now, no matter what's happening in our life. Can we bring ourselves into it and work our way through whatever is happening right now? There is abundance potentially around as well, and there is a strong sense of opening with this card. So we might need to be careful that we haven't been going like this, la, 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 and ignoring where our life is trying to take us. That we haven't been ignoring, denying, distracting ourselves, or avoiding the inevitable at this time. So that closes us off and has us looking over here like this, while our life is going off in this other direction. And then before we know it, our path is miles ahead and we're still stuck here, and then we're not in alignment. Things aren't in flow and we're out of balance. So if we could take our fingers out of our ears and open ourselves just a little bit to maybe this will work out. Maybe there is something amazing that can happen from whatever it is that we're avoiding, that we need to look at. We know we have to. So let's stop putting it off. So quite a strong energy and very strongly aligned with what's happening. And I'll be writing about it in the report later, no doubt. Thursday, the 18th of May, we have card 14, the Emperor Moth. It says to put things into order. So this is getting things back into order now, getting things back on track for ourselves. It might be sorting out paperwork or tying up loose ends that we've had dangling around for too long, and it's taking up energy and time because, you know, it might be worrying us that that is a task that has to be done, but we're not actually doing it. So if we can make some time on Thursday to start getting some things into order, getting the paperwork sorted out, tying up those loose ends, then that will help get us into probably more of a mental alignment, so that we're not spreading ourselves too thin, but we're focusing on the things that need to be done, focusing 100% of our time on that thing that we're tying up, or that task that needs to be put into order, so that we can resolve some things, get some clutter out of our head, and get focused on what is most important right now. So we might be scared to put things into order because we might feel in some ways that we're preparing for the end, or we're preparing for a change that we don't want to be doing. But it's coming, it's happening. This is part of the movement of our life right now. So we are probably best to move with it than put the paperwork aside and pretend it doesn't exist, even though it needs to be done. So let's get it over with as quick as we can so we can get into alignment with our path, get things into order, get things structured, get things out of our head, and get back on track. So this is very mental, a mental order, but it requires action, because it takes action to go through all the paperwork, or to tidy up that room that's been driving us crazy, or to get things into some sort of order. It requires action. So Friday the 19th of May, we have Boundaries, card 1, and it says truth, protection, courage, and bravery. Keeping our boundaries up on Friday may be important, and it's hard to keep our boundaries up if we're off track and we're out of balance and things aren't in order and we're confused and we're closed and all that sort of stuff, the opposite of, well, what I'm talking about, but sort of if we don't do anything about it. It's hard to keep our boundaries up in a healthy way. So once we get on track and we get back into alignment with our flow and the course of our life right now, and we get things into order, then we're going to probably feel maybe a little bit vulnerable as we come to terms with the facts and the reality of our life right now that we may have been avoiding, which is why we may feel that we're off track or not on or in the path at this time or lately. So once we get things sorted for ourselves, then we'll probably feel sensitive and vulnerable, which means that by the time we get to Friday, we may need to consolidate or assess our boundaries and make sure our boundaries haven't become too relaxed lately or unhealthy. How supportive are your boundaries at this time, and especially by the time you get to Friday? How supportive are your boundaries, and how healthy are your boundaries? Or how unsupportive are your boundaries, and how unhealthy are your boundaries? So if you're scared of change and you've been dealing with what I've been talking about in some way, then your boundaries may be more of like a defense because you're scared of change, or you're scared of this thing, or fearful of whatever the inevitable of what might be coming up, that maybe you've put really defensive, unhealthy boundaries around yourself, like a blocking off, putting fingers in our ears, la, 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 this doesn't exist. That is like an unhealthy defense that we put up. That's not really a boundary. So those defenses may need to break down, which may cause a vulnerability, because a part of our defenses is to protect ourselves. And if we realize that actually we're holding ourselves back by doing that, and we need to break those walls down, then it creates a vulnerability, especially at first, as we come to terms with the truth and the reality and the facts of what we've been ignoring for perhaps some time. So creating then some healthy boundaries, like making time for self-care, making time to focus on putting things into order. These may be important. So healthy boundaries, especially around our time, how we spend our time might be important. Now, Saturday, we have card 24, Expanded Love. And it says productivity, teamwork, and holding space. So this is working well together with others on Saturday. And especially, over the weekend, working together quite well with others if we're coming together with others, coming together for a common purpose or a common interest or a common goal or a common reason, feels to be bringing people together on Saturday. So we might be in that space, or we may be organising that for the days or weeks to come. So there is this sense of coming together for a common reason that is uniting. And this uniting feeling that it brings, it feels beautiful. It feels beyond words that I can really use to describe. It feels heartwarming and like we belong to something, a community, a group, a family that is heartwarming. It just feels beautiful. It's a bit hard to find words to describe the feeling. Also, there's a productivity for Saturday. So if there are things that we need to get done, if we do need to put things into order, and we do need to consolidate our boundaries, and we do need to get things done, we might find that we have the energy for that on Saturday, because it's quite potentially going to be productive. Sunday, we have the Gorilla, card 9. And the Gorilla reminds us to do the right thing. So to be honest, to be true, and to use integrity in our relationships and connections with others, with ourselves, in life as well. There is a fixed feeling with the Gorilla here. He's fixed like a mountain. So once we get into position and get into our flow and create and drop our defenses, but create then some healthy boundaries, once we get things into order, and we're in as best state of balance as we can be in by the time we get to Sunday, we might find that we need to be fixed with something. And sometimes it's like breaking a habit, Sometimes often, in fact, almost always, when we're trying to break a habit and we start, we have to stay fixed, and we have to stay cold, and we have to stay determined. Otherwise, the habit takes over and consumes us again. So it's like detaching from a habit. Detaching could be a state of mind. It could be some lazy or bad habit that we may have gotten into over time that is not the best use of our time, that we're trying to break. And it feels like there is something that we're trying to break, something that we're tied to, something that we've been attached to, that we may need to consider or have been considering detaching from, taking a break from, or getting some distance from, because it's not healthy for us. Is this healthy and supportive for you, is what I like to ask myself if I'm not sure. Is this healthy for me? Is this supportive for me? Yes, yes. Okay, let's keep it. No, no. Okay, let's do something about it. So I may need to create some distance. So there is a distance feeling. There's a detached feeling to things we've been attached to. And there's a fixed feeling, like when we're breaking a habit and we have to stay cold and determined and focused. And in some ways distract ourselves from the thing that keeps pulling us towards it, like a bad habit. It could be a way of thinking. It could be a substance that you don't, or something that you're consuming that's not healthy for you, that you're trying to take a break from. And we have to stay in some ways focused and distract ourselves from the pull as we're breaking that habit. So that's the feeling. So what can you focus on? And what could be the best use of your time while you're staying fixed and firm within yourself, staying determined and strong? Monday, the 22nd of May, we have Shelter, card 51, and it says to seek safe shelter. So shelter in the Animal Kingdom Oracle cards, I think of shelter for the animals. So there's all animals except for the elements in the seasonal, the seasonal cards. And this is probably the only card really that's not an animal, but I'm thinking this is the shelter for the animals. So if you need shelter on Monday, if you need to safe shelter, I should say, for healing, for recovery, for mending, for resting, for reconnecting, for whatever reason, then make that time if you have it. And you don't need a lot of time. It can just be a little bit of time that you find, half an hour, where you feel the safety and the protection of your home and your shelter, for example. This can also be highlighting the home and something around the home or your safe place. It's not always a home for us all at all times. It could be a room, it could be a vehicle, it could be a place in nature. So what's your safe shelter, your place where you can feel safe to 100% be yourself? And if you can't find anywhere, there is always at least one place, and that is within our own body, where we should, hopefully, for the majority of the time, feel safe to be ourselves, where this is our safe shelter. And maybe expressing through our journal or meditating or just having some quiet moments outside might be what we need, just to reconnect with this safe shelter, this sacred temple of our body, especially if you've been disconnected from your body in recent days or weeks or longer. And then Tuesday, the 23rd of May, we have card 13, this little monkey. The monkey says to cooperate. So by the time we get to Tuesday, we might need to consider how cooperative we are being or how uncooperative we're being. So if by the time we get to Tuesday, we're still not on track and we still haven't resolved at least getting back into balance, and we're in the process of doing that, if we're still off track, if we're still stuck, if we're still stagnant, if we're still out of balance, then we might need to look at the cold, hard truth, perhaps, that maybe we're being uncooperative. Maybe we've been uncooperative with our life, with our path, with people in our life, with ourselves. Maybe there is a rebel within us that's been rebelling against change or rebelling against something or someone or ourselves for some reason. Why have we been rebelling? Why have we been not cooperating with the energy? And how can we perhaps soften our attitude and cooperate a little bit more and see if that works better? And just see if it works better and we feel better by letting our guard down and maybe cooperating just a little bit more. So there's a cooperative feeling on Tuesday. Also great to work together with other people is the feeling. So Saturday and Tuesday especially are great for cooperating, working and connecting with other people, probably in quite a productive, cooperative way. And there's a social element to the monkey too. So there's a social feeling. It has a similar feeling. Saturday and Tuesday feel linked somehow with people. So it could be that Saturday we arrange some gathering or something that happens on Tuesday. Something like that. There feels to be a connection between those 2 days. So I trust this resonates. Thanks so much to the few of you who have come over to watch. I appreciate you being here. I am going to pull a theme card to go in just a moment, but before I do, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Please hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed this. Please show us some love. Please comment, please share if you're inspired to, and if you would like to connect more privately, please send us a message through our website. If you're watching on Facebook, please hit the follow button. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you do happen to be watching on Facebook and you don't really get notified of things, or you're sick of Facebook and you want a break, please come and subscribe to my YouTube channel where all these videos are shared back to YouTube. So you don't have to be on Facebook to connect with my work if it's important to you. So coming up, we have my next card reading club and my next online art class. They're two separate things, but they happen on the same day. Well, depending on where you are, it's in the morning and the evening for us in Australia. And will vary for you in other parts of the world, but it's a great day to connect with once a month. So we'll be working with our oracle cards, and I'll be guiding us through. We'll be creating a spread around our theme, and I've completely forgotten what the theme is because I haven't looked recently and I've just been away and I'm in busy mode. So I'm not sure what the theme is, where we are at or something like that. So we'll be focusing on that and seeking and looking for our own guidance in the cards. And I really highly recommend that if it's something that you're interested in. And it's online, it's on Zoom. And also on Friday the 26th, which is the next online card reading club, is also our next online art class. And we're looking at working with the flow. So I find it interesting, that working element of that theme and the flow. So we've already been talking a lot about that earlier. So working with the flow, how can you get into that flow better? And we'll be talking about it and then creating around that theme on Friday the 26th of May. So if you're interested in either of those, then please have a look on my website. They're not available after, but if you do book or register, you will also receive the video recording. So there's those, and my card decks if you want to work with them, and loads of other things on my website. Please visit templeofbalance.com.au. Okay. Excellent, Nikki. That'll be wonderful. Okay, let's grab our best theme card for the week, not the month. Come on. The week of Wednesday the 17th of May through to Tuesday the 23rd of May. What is our overall theme card or bigger picture for this particular week? So the best theme card for the majority of us to keep in mind this week is this. It's an Animal Kingdom Oracle card, and it's the Echidna. Okay, so this is quite on point with what I've been talking about. It's the Echidna card 19, and it says, don't dwell on the details. Now, I'm not saying that the details are never important, because they are. But sometimes we can just dig up too much dirt around the details, and it's unnecessary. Sometimes we focus too much on something that doesn't really need that much attention or that much dissecting, if you like. And this is very much, being the theme, very much important for this week ahead, to make sure that we keep going. That we keep going and we keep on track. Once we get on track, then keep going on track. Instead of stopping and digging up the dirt on everything. You know, it's a bit like, stopping and gossiping, or stopping and getting up in other people's business. But other things as well that we might be just stopping and digging up the dirt too much on. Do we really need to be doing that? Is it important? And if it's not, if it's time wasting, if it's procrastinating, if it's someone else's business and it's got nothing to do with us, if it's micromanaging, that will also be included here, then we might need to realize it and step back and then keep going like the Echidna. So let's keep going on our path and not let all the little distractions and things consume us, all the nitty-gritty things, but let's put them aside and in some ways put our blinkers on to those. Deal with the things that of course require it, but don't add extra work. Don't add more than what needs to be there. So there's other things we need to do, and we might need to look more in the long term on the straight path instead of stopping and digging up every little anthill that we see on that path, like an echidna might, if it's really hungry, I suppose. So just be careful we're not desperate or obsessed this week, or trying to micromanage other people. Let's give the task and let it be done. Let's do this sort of thing so that we can use our time efficiently this week and not dwell on the unnecessary details. So that's our theme, the Echidna. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week ahead, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.